So again, I'm going to just go over basic layout content. It's not too much about the layout itself, but more of what are the pieces. Okay, and again, today before we leave, I want you to tell me about some pieces that you would use in a travel site. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's just talk about how to make some of the content in Photoshop. Again, inside of Photoshop, you can start with a web layout. To start with a web layout in Photoshop, you can easily go underneath the File, New. And in the File, New, you'll notice you have Web right here. And we kind of talked about sizes last class. And you got your common sizes, you got your high definition size, you got your medium web size, you got web minimum, this one 1024 by 768. How about we start with the medium size one today? I'm going to use this one right here. Again, you'll notice it's 72. What PPI stands for, pixels per inch. Again, it's under New, Web, and you can choose a web layout. Notice how it starts with a white background and so on, which is okay, and you hit Create. Again, a lot of the things we're going to be doing today, again, a spacebar will help you move things around. If you hold the spacebar down, you get the hand, and you can move with your mouse. Very common way of moving things. I'm going to put my toolbar in the corner there. Next thing I'm going to bring up is my my layers window. Under Window Layers, in there you'll see you have layers. If you want to zoom out, you can zoom out by using Command minus. Command plus zooms in. Remember, when you're working, it's at 66.7%. So when you're looking at the text on the screen, it is not the size it's going to be on a website. When you look at it at 100%, it'll look the way that it should on a standard monitor. So don't be deceived. I think I talked about that the first week of class. Do you remember we talked about the zoom factor? The zoom factor is very important to what you're seeing and how it matches what it would be size-wise on a website. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about masking again. Last class I kind of left off with masking. Today's simple layout will be about flowers, so I'm going to go steal a picture of a flower and actually put it on inside of Photoshop. To steal a picture of a flower, I'm going to go to the internet and I'm going to go to Wikipedia. If I can get a new window here, there we go. And of course, I'm going to type in flowers. And you see we got some flower pictures here. We got some beautiful flowers here. Beautiful flowers. Ooh, a bee pollinating flowers. Ooh, this one's interesting right here. What is this one? Bee and an orchid. There it is. So, no, I don't like any of these flowers here. Oh, this one's not too bad. This one. Maybe we'll use this one for our heading. So again, I went to Wikipedia and I typed in flowers, and I'm going to steal this picture and use it. And remember last class I was using a mask. I'm going to use the same thing here. I'm going to steal this picture from the internet by clicking on it. It gives me a big version of it. And I'm going to copy and paste this right into Photoshop. I know we're stealing. I know we talked about copyright last class, but for right now we can steal for right now so we save our time. I'm going to right click on there and say copy image. Copy image. Right click, copy image. I'm going to go back to Photoshop and I'm going to paste that image right in Photoshop by going under edit, paste, edit, paste, and boom, it pasted it right into Photoshop, and here it is. Okay. So again, you can actually copy and paste right from a web page into Photoshop by just right clicking on an image. I'm in Firefox though. I know some of you would love to use your Chrome browser. There is a copy in Chrome as well. I don't know what it says there. What does it say in Chrome? When you right click on an image in Chrome, what does it say? Copy. Does it say the same thing? Copy image? Okay, well, there you go. Again, you'll see I have my image over here inside of layers. Again, a lot of what we talk about today will be layers. I'm going to name my layer. If you remember from last class, if you don't see layers inside of Photoshop, you can get the layers by going under Window, Layers. It'll bring up the layer window as well so you can see layers. Remember, it says Artboard right there. Remember I changed the name of that to Desktop last class when we were going to do like multiple things. So again, you can change these words in the Layers window by clicking on the layer name itself. So I can click on this one twice and I can call it Flowers. This is going to be my banner flowers. Like that. Banner flowers. Did everybody see that? Help. Layers here. I named it right there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a shape in there. If you remember, the most common shapes are here on the right side. If you go all the way down, you'll notice here's one right here. See the shape? You got rectangle. I'm going to do round rectangle. How about that? Again, shapes are right here. I use them. Don't worry about the color. Just make sure it has a fill to it. Make sure there's a fill to it. And I'm going to drag my shape around my image. Drag my shape around my image. And I'm going to release my mouse. And I have a shape now. Okay, but the shape, of course, is on top in the layers window. So to do the masking, we need to move the shape underneath it. Notice how you can drag things around. Look at how I'm dragging from one layer to the other. See that? Dragging, 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 dragging. See that? Once it's underneath the flower, I'm going to click on the flower and do what's called a clipping mask. To do the clipping mask, you go in the upper right corner of the layers up here. You have these little things here. Another place you can find the clipping mask, I believe, is under Edit. Right? Is it under here as well? I don't know. Layer. I'm sorry. It's probably under here. Layer. You see a clipping mask under there? Towards the bottom, maybe? No. Do you see? Oh, here it is. Look. Create clipping mask. Yeah, it is in there. So instead of having to go there, just go under Layer, Clipping Mask. And there you go. You got your nice banner then. And notice how you have that. And if you want to keep these together, you should group them together. To group them together, I can hold down the Shift key and select both of them together. Once they're both selected together in the upper right corner here, I can then go and group them. Or again, I think over here you can make a group as well. Let's try that under the layer window there. Group layers? No, I don't know. I want to make group from layers. Maybe over here. We're going to go group from layers. New group from layers. Again, there's this little, remember the burger menu we were talking about? There's like a little burger menu in the upper right corner of the layers. See, it's the little burger kind of looking thing. Remember we talked about a burger menu? It's up there, and make sure I have them both selected. And up there, I'm going to say new group from layers. And this is going to be my banner. I'm going to call it banner. Banner's another term. You can describe it. It makes it into a group. Now, if you want to move that banner, whenever you're using the Move tool right here, if you look at the Move tool right here, there's a couple options for the Move tool here. You got Auto Select, which is good. It'll auto select things. But you also see it says Group right here, and you have two, and then you have Show Transform. The Transform is the little squares that go around, allow you to rotate things and do things like that. But under the Group here, you'll notice there's two options. There's Layer. The layer will allow you to move something. So if I'm going to move the flowers within the mask, I would choose Layer here under the Move tool, and I can actually move it around. You can see I can move the layer in there. But if I want to move the mask and the picture at the same time, I choose Group here under the Move tool, Group, and then I can move that, and then you'll notice it moves them all together, moves them both. So there is different ways of moving things. You'll notice right here, again, get used to the Move tool. I use it for pretty much everything. It's the #1 tool that you use. Move things around, do things. Don't worry about this thing down here, because once you get it in place and where it's at, I'm going to go over here to the artboard. You'll notice I have a folder now in the artboard called Banner. I'm going to lock that. There's a little lock right there. Boom, you lock that. You're never going to move it again. It's part of my layout. It's going to stay there forever. So get to that point so we can start putting some text on. And title, I'm going to use the T for text. It's this one right here. And of course, we're using Futura, right? You need to use Futura for your homework assignment for this week or next week or whenever we're making. You're going to have to use Futura. I'm using Futura bold, 52 points. You might want to make it even bigger. I'm going to go all the way up to 120 points. So even before I click or do anything, I choose the text tool. I choose the font I want. I choose the bold. Size-wise, you don't even know what size you want yet. It doesn't give you an example until you click anyways. But I'm going to do 120 for right now. This is this option right here is how the edges are. Is it sharp? Is it crisp? Is it smooth? It doesn't really matter in very large size, but when you get to smaller size, like 10-point font, this makes a big difference over here, the options that you have here. You got your left align, your center, your right align, and your color. I don't want red. I'm going to go all the way to white. I'm going to do white. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click inside my flower. Make sure you lock this before you do that, because if you don't lock it, it thinks you want to attach the text to that shape, and I don't want to attach the text to that shape. Make sure you lock that. Now if I click on the screen, it's going to make a new shape anyways, and I'm going to type in Jeff's, whoops, 2 F's, Jeff's with apostrophe, flowers. Look at that, Jeff's flowers. Again, to move, you can use the move tool right here, and you can move it around. I'm going to kind of put it right there. Look at that. Beautiful. Nice tower. It's a little big. I might shrink it down. You can shrink it down visually if you're using the move tool, and you have the show transform tools. If you hold down the shift key, you can actually, that's squishing it. I'm going to hit escape. If you make a mistake, that #1 key to, if you do something you don't want it to be done, hit escape. I really wanted to shrink it down. I don't want to move it. I want to shrink it. There we go. It's starting to shrink now. There we go. That's a little bit too much. How about we get it right underneath that sunflower right there. I'm going to put it in the lower corner there. When I'm all done, I'm going to hit the move tool again and apply it. So whenever you're moving and scaling, sometimes when you're done doing those things, you need to click the move tool again so it does what you're asking it to do. There we go. That's a nice title for my website right there. It's a little hard to see. Wouldn't it be nice if we added some shadow or some line around it? Remember, whenever you're working inside of shapes or text or things like that, you have options. You can put a line around an object. It's called a, who's an illustrator, line around an object is a stroke, right? Or you can have a drop shadow, which is basically some darker image that's underneath it. You can also have color inside the shape, color outside the shape. You can have a glowing thing. You don't want to do too much, because then people, nothing worse than putting every effect in Photoshop on the text. It will never be readable. But for this, it would be nice if we had just a little shadow to make it stand out from the flowers that are underneath it. Or a stroke would work as well. So a line around the text or a shadow. I'm going to do a slight shadow. So this is how you do it. If you go over here to the layers window, you'll notice you have my text here. You see the T for text right there. If you go down to the very bottom of the layers window, I'm going to bring this up a little bit. You'll see there's one that says FX. There's an FX at the bottom there. See that? FX. If you click on the FX, you'll see there's a whole bunch of options you can do to your text. You got your bevel and emboss, stroke, inner shadow, inner glow, satin, color overlay, gradient overlay, pattern overlay, outer glow, drop shadow. Boy, that sounds like it would be fun over the weekend if I would go through each and every one of these and see what they do. That would be fun, because I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to do drop shadow. You can do drop shadow, I would say, or stroke would be good. I'm going to do drop shadow there. If you move it, you can kind of see what it's doing there. There's a preview, before and after, before and after. It's very slight, and they have options to do it more or less. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see. Zoom in here. So you can see it puts kind of a dark there. There's a distance on how far away the shadow is. There's a size for how big it is. Multiply, there's an opacity. Do you want it really dark or really light? Do you see that right there? If you want some dark, I might do kind of dark and very kind of small, not very far. And very slight. Do you see that? Very slight. And if I say before and after, you can see that before and after, before and after, before and after, before and after. So really you need to learn what some of these do. Just go into Photoshop and try some of this. Hit OK, and if I zoom out, you can see it's a little bit more readable. right here. And it's still kind of big, and I know we're working kind of big. This is how big it would be on a website. It's pretty big, but that's okay. Did you see how to do? There's some other ones. You might want to try the stroke and stuff like that. Once you're done doing that, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group it together with the other part here. So here's how I'm going to do that. This text right here is actually part of this banner right here, but you'll notice the banner is locked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock the banner by unlocking it with the lock. Remember, there's a lock and unlock, lock and unlock, unlock, lock and unlock. I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to take the Jeff's Flowers text, and I'm going to drag it right into that folder right there. And it should go in. Hopefully it's on top. Again, you might have to move things around. There's also a little effects. You can see there's an arrow for the effect. That effect is in there. If you don't like the effect, you can drag it into the trash and get rid of it. But again, I added that text now into the banner, and now I can lock that banner. And locking the banner now, it becomes part of that as well. So think about how, if you go to the internet and go to Google, and I type in, how about responsive, nice way, responsive, S-I-V, responsive design Photoshop template. This Speckle Boy one, this one right here. This one right here. You can download these and see how they built them. Look at this. This is what I want you to do. So wouldn't it be great if you could just go there and download them? Download these. Download them. Open them up in Photoshop. Look at the layers. See how they made the layers. You know, to take it apart. Steal their content. I don't know. Okay, let's continue. So again, I have flowers. Again, make sure you learn how to organize things into a into there. Let's make a menu next. Okay, so we're going to make a menu that goes underneath here. To make a menu, I'm going to make a new folder. To make a new folder inside of the layers window, you'll notice there is, look at these icons at the bottom of the layers window. You have FX. We learned how to put a drop shadow on some text there. This one is a masking that I don't really use. I don't use that one. This is some color effects. I'm not going to use that right now. But notice this one right here. It has like a little folder. If I click on that, it'll make a new group, it says right here. We're going to call that menu, M-E-N-U. So again, you can change the name of things inside the layer window. Again, I just made a new folder. That's this one. I called it menu. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a text menu, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit there. I'm going to have a kind of a text menu that starts on the left side and goes across. So what kind of menu, what kind of options would I have on a flower website? Maybe I want to have, what I want them to do first is buy flowers. So maybe I'll type in some text that says buy flowers. To do that, I'm going to use the text tool that is right here. I'm going to use my text. I'm going to change the size probably. I'm going to go down to about maybe 60 for the size. Again, I'm still using Futura Bold 60. I'm going to change the color of the text to black. Black. So again, I'm going to put a menu that goes across the top here. To do that, I just do some text, okay, right here. And I'm going to click on the screen. And I'm going to type in buy, maybe do lowercase, buy, no, uppercase, buy flowers. And that's kind of bold and ugly. So I can highlight the text. Again, and change the size. I'm going to go all the way down to like 32. And then maybe not bold. I might go to medium. There we go. I don't want it to be too dominant. There we go. So we'll kind of move it down a little bit right there and kind of line it up with the edge. So again, all I did was put some text on the screen by using the text tool, and I have that. And I just put some text on. Change the size again. You want to do size. I went to medium so it wasn't so bold. I changed the size. And then I made it black so it stands out against the white background. So get some text in there. Make sure it's not too big, because we're going to do a menu that goes across all the way across to here. So we got to fit maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons maybe on a website, right? I don't know. Everybody got that text? Notice in the layers window it tells you what the name of the text is right there. Do you see that in the layers window? Okay, let's duplicate this text for the next button. To duplicate this text for the next button, I'm going to hold down the Option key on the keyboard. And notice how my cursor, again, I'm using the Move tool. If I'm using the Move tool and I got my text over top of the pick text there, over top of the text, if I hold down the Option key on the keyboard and I click with my left mouse, I can duplicate it. So I'm going to move it across over here, and I'm going to type in, so we want them to buy flowers, and we want them to do what else for flowers? Grow. How about grow? Oops. I'm going to do all caps. Grow. I'm just going to put the word grow in there. I don't need the word flowers. You would think that that's inherent. They know it's a flower website, right? Don't know. So I put the word grow in there. So once I did that, though, I'm going to want to maybe put something in between these text here. So I might put a line in there. So I'm going to actually cheat a little bit here. And before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and duplicate this text again. And this time, though, I'm going to change the text from that to an actual a line. If you look at the keyboard, right above the return key, you'll notice there is a line that goes down. Do you see that? It's like not the one that's on an angle, but above the return key, you'll see the one that goes down. If I hit Shift Return, I can put that in there, and it's like a common line. I'm going to actually move that, and it's going to be hard to move that with so I might have to zoom in, and I'm going to move that kind of in between the two here, maybe line it up with the bottom. There we go. And remember, we can put a guideline in there if we want, but I'm going to kind of put that in between there like that. So you've seen that in menus before where they kind of differentiate between the buttons that you click on with a line underneath there. Have you ever noticed that before? Yes? So I just put a line in there. So we got buy flowers, grow. Again, we're going to duplicate. I want to duplicate this content. To duplicate this content, I'm going to click on the word grow, and I'm going to hold the Shift key down and click on that line. I'm going to click on both of those, and I'm going to duplicate them. To duplicate them with the Move tool, I'm going to use the Option key on the keyboard. So if I hold my cursor, my Option down, I can, oops, I didn't want to do that. Stupid mouse. I'm going to hold down the Option key and click on... All right, hit Escape if you're having problems with things. Escape. Again, hold down the Option key, click and drag. There we go. And then so we have grow. What else do we do with flowers besides growing them? How about we buy flowers, grow flowers?
Seeds.
What's that?
Selling seeds. Seeds.
Seeds?
Selling them.
Oh, sell seeds. Okay. Buy seeds. How about we put buy seeds? There we go. Buy seeds. That's good. Again, I'm going to hold down the Command key or Shift key and select both of these, and I'm going to duplicate them again, the Option key, and click and drag. I know your cursor might be doing the crazy thing it's doing to me as well. I don't know why they get this stupid mouse settings on here. And the last one is how about they become a member? Remember, this is a co-op. How about that? How do you spell member? M-E-M-E-M-B-E-R, member? Oh, no. How do you spell member? M-E-M, mem. How do you spell member? M-E-M-E-B-E-R, member? No.
No, there's no E in the middle.
M-E-M-B-E-R?
Yeah.
That's it?
Remember? Yeah.
Okay, that just doesn't look right to me. Okay. So see if you can get to all that. When you're done with all that beautifulness of your menu, you can then go and group them together. If they didn't go into my group. Do you notice that? They didn't go into my menu group here. So what could I do? I could drag them in there. Drag them in there. Drag all the pieces in there. I will come and help you in a minute. Drag them in there. But did you see how easy it is to kind of just duplicate text and move them around in there? And once you have them as a group, you can lock them. I'm going to do columns of text. Again, we're going to put a title here, and then a summary, and then another subtitle, and then some more text. So there'll be 4 different things of text here. Okay. Before we even do that, though, I'm going to use the text tool here. Again, the horizontal text tool, and this time instead of just clicking to put the text, we're going to click and drag. When you click and drag, it makes a column. So if I click and drag, it makes a column. And oh, it doesn't go any further down. That's okay. We can do that again. So I know I didn't put anything in there. Let me undo that just for a moment. I'm going to hit edit, undo. Oh, I can't undo. How about escape? Cancel text. Before I do that, you remember you can put lines on the screen. Remember the guidelines that we were using at the end of last class? We were using guidelines. So I'm going to bring some guidelines up first. We're going under View, Rulers. View, Rulers. Brings up the rulers in there. I think we put those in there last class, the rulers here. Again, the rulers are under View, Rulers. And I'm going to put, if this is, how big is this across, 1440 or something? I'm going to kind of put a line in the middle there. To use the guidelines, you can put your cursor here and hold the mouse down inside of the, inside of the ruler and drag out. I'm going to put one here on the edge here. Boom, there's one there. Click and put one in the center. So what is this, 1440? What is it, 1440? What's half of 1440? 720? 720, right? That would be 720 in the middle there. And then I'm going to put one on the end there. There we go. Did you see that? Now, I want some space. Of course, I don't want the columns of text to be right in the center here. I want them to be maybe on either side. So I want to maybe... I would say 60 pixels in the middle there, 60 pixels in the middle there. So let's do 30 and 30. So I'm going to actually put another guideline out that's about 30% less there than the center. Now I'm going to do a little 30% more. Oh, it's jumping on me here. It's a stupid guideline. It wants to align things. Oh, let me try again. Yeah, Photoshop is not the best. Let me move that a little bit. It's not going to... If you're having problems putting things in position because it wants to do what's called snapping, you might need to turn snapping off. Snapping is underneath View, Snap right here. You notice, see how it says Snap right there? Turn that off, and then you can move things to where you want them without it trying to force you into doing something that you might not want to do. That's where I want it. Right there. Okay. So again, I have put a line, a guideline. Again, to put guidelines, you put your cursor in the rulers and drag out. Put your cursor in the rulers and drag out. I have one guideline in the center, and then I did 30 pixels on this side and 30 pixels on that side, which gives me a total gutter. This is called a gutter. The gutter is the space between 2 columns of text. Or 3 columns. Whatever the space between columns of text is called a gutter, right? It's not a downspout. You would think they would call it a downspout, right? The water flows down beside your house in that little tube. It's called a downspout. If you're having problems moving these around, you might need to click down below here or above. Try to move them around. But see how to put guidelines in. Guidelines are very useful. So again, we're going to have a little bit more room down here. To adjust the canvas size down here, I'm going to go under Image, Canvas Size. Image, Canvas Size. Before I change any size, you'll notice down here in the grid, it's where do you want it to grow? I want it to grow down. So I'm going to click on the very top middle one right here. See that? I want it to grow down this way. Notice the height is 900. You can change that. I'm going to go all the way up to, how about we do 1400. It's kind of square. 1400, that's kind of big. How about 1200? I'm going to go 1400, 1200. So again, make sure you're pointing down, and change the size down. Boom. No, it didn't change. Why did it not change? Oh, did I not do it right? Maybe I hit cancel. 1200. Okay. It didn't change. Why is it not changing? Maybe because things are locked. Let me unlock that stuff. Let me unlock image, canvas size, 1200, down. Still didn't change. Okay, I don't know why it's not changing. How about we do this? There is an artboard tool, and I don't know where they put it now. I don't know what version we're in here. No. Edit toolbar. No. No. I've changed my canvas size a million times in my life. Why won't it let me change it now? Maybe I have to click on the artboard right here. Then go under image canvas size. Why is this not changing? I have no idea.
You should be able to drag the bottom of the canvas just down as long as you're not selecting any of the layers. As long as none of the layers are selected, you should be able to drag it.
It's not letting me drag there. I guess so. What? Oh, shit, really? That's pretty stupid. So what? Using the move tool and dragging down the canvas? That doesn't make any sense to me. I want to use canvas size. Oh, it did it automatically when I did that. I don't know. Sorry, I don't have an answer to you. Again, I select the artboard right there, and I use the move tool right here, and it has like little dots on the edges there, and you dragged it down. See that? That doesn't make any sense to me. Canvas size makes much more sense to me because that is, you know, mathematical. I can type in what I want. I don't like this having to drag this. I don't know why canvas size wasn't working. Whatever, let's move on. I made it a little bigger. Okay, let's make a new menu now. I'm going to lock these again, make sure they're locked. I don't mess with them. Again, I'm going to make a new layer down here, a new folder, and that new group. And that new group is going to be columns. Columns of text. And so to make a column of text, I'm going to use the text tool right here. I'm going to change my font size down to pretty small. So I'm going to go down to about 14 point. Futura medium 14 point. This time I'm going to click with my mouse along the edge here of this guideline. I'm going to hold the mouse down and drag. And I'm going to release my mouse. Now I'm going to kind of do F pattern. So the first line of text up here is going to be some text. I love, oops. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see what I'm writing. Oh, that doesn't work. So again, I'm going to put some text in there. I love flowers. And of course 14 points a little small here, maybe a little bit bigger. This is not really, let's make it even bigger than that. Let's go to 30 point. There we go. So I have one line of text. And then I'm going to hit return. And then this time I'm going to change the font to a little bit smaller. And I'm going to go to Wikipedia and steal some text from, didn't I have Wikipedia up here somewhere? So I'm going to steal some text. Let's steal some text from Wikipedia. I'm going to steal some text here. I'm going to copy that and go and put it into Photoshop here. Make sure my text is selected. This is really, oh, you got to be kidding me. This is really not easy to do in Photoshop. I wish I was doing this in, hit return, paste my text. Again, this text is kind of big, so I'm going to highlight the text and go down to, what did I say I was going to make it, 24? There we go. So 24, and then maybe add an extra space there for sure. Maybe you make this a little bit bigger. We go to maybe 36. Notice how I'm just selecting text and putting things. Now it's really hard to get the text selected. Once you click off, once you click outside, and you're like, oh, and then you try and use the text tool again, and then you try and click inside here. Most of the time, it thinks you want to make new text. You're like, I don't want to make new text, and you're like, oh, and then you have to do what? Hit escape. Oh, okay. So it's very hard. I understand because Photoshop is not a good text tool. I'm gonna hit return twice and put in a subtitle. And let's call this one How to Plant. And then I'm going to hit return again twice, and then I'm going to get some more text in there. Let's steal some more text here. Let's steal some more text. And then I'm going to try and put that in as well. Again, I've deselected already and like, how do I get in there? So you have to kind of click inside there. It's very difficult, I understand. And then paste. And if you don't want to do that, you can do that. If you want to indent, you can use the tab key. I might indent this to make it look like it's easier to read. So again, one thing I might do is indent the first line in a paragraph there, right? And for the MLA format, what is the first line? And then, of course, since these are subtitles, I'll make them bigger. I'll move this up to about 30 points. And then maybe change the color to a darker color. I'm going to do like a dark blue there. And then this one, let's do a nice dark color. And that's not very good. How about a dark blue? The same dark blue. Uh-oh. Be careful using the space bar for the hand when you got the type tool going. And so what I'm looking for you to do is to have something like this, nice kind of reading and so on. And so next we'll talk about how to adjust the line spacing and things like that. So get to that point, and then the last thing I would do in this case is duplicate this over here. This is not as easy as like you would do in InDesign or Illustrator, because you can easily run text from one column to the other in those programs. But for here, if I click and paste, I can put another one over here. See that? And I could change the text or do whatever. So I'm going to save this. And so you see how to do basic concepts here. And so this is...
Can you make the text follow the guidelines?
Just give me 1 second.